Okay, so today I am not sure what I'm going to try to fix. Let's see. This is unnecessary anymore. So do we... Crap, I can't even remember now. So yesterday, did we not fix this? Oh yeah, we fixed it and then it broke a bunch of things. So the problem we're dealing with is if we're on the platform 1 here and we skid off of it, it stops our DX completely when it should keep our DX. And the reason it's stopping us completely is because we have skid logic that says if we're skidding, slow down your DX until it hits 0. But I guess we need to say only do that if you're grounded and skidding. But wasn't that what I tried to change and it busted everything? So it's not the skid flag we're looking at. It's the here. Determine skid stop. So I guess the problem here this line of code is saying, hey, give the ostriches x, its current x plus its velocity, whenever we are moving right and not skidding. So I guess there's a this next line is saying if we're moving right and we're skidding, then slow our DX down from a positive number to a to slow down to 0. And this is for going left. Okay. But the weird thing is, okay. The weird thing is that just saying, hey, only slow us to a skid if we're skidding and we're grounded didn't work, right? So like my initial reasoning of how to fix this is just to say, hey, make sure we're grounded. But then I guess okay. So it's almost like I think I'm just realizing why that messed up. Because if we add and self-grounded, then yes, it will get us to a stop when we're grounded, but it doesn't know what to do if we're skidding and we're not grounded. So it's almost like we need to say, you know, it's almost like we need another, and I feel like there's a better way to do this out, because see how this line of code, or this block of code, is stop the skid sound, stop skidding, and trigger just stopped. And same with this. It's like those two are the same line, and also these two are the same line. So it's almost like we can combine both of those, you know, like this, if dx is 0, doesn't need to be dependent on if we're moving to the left, and this, yeah, this doesn't need to be dependent on if we're moving right. We just need to know that we're not stopped. Yeah, so maybe there is a more concise way of doing this. So like, we can say if we're moving right or left, then update our current exposition. So I guess if our dx is positive, and we're not skidding, I feel like we can do a combined, like this is greater than 0 and self.dx smaller than or, hold on, why is that greater than or equal to 0? If it's equal to 0, update its position, but then I'm saying if its dx is 0, stop. Or I don't see why that's greater than or equal to 0. Right here. Because if, I think it should just be greater than 0. Let me, I'm kind of curious if I take that out, say not greater than or equal to. See, but then it never knows. I feel like this one's got to be the first. Shoot. I feel like we got to check if we're stopped first. So we can say, like, if we're stopped, then do all the stopping logic. Otherwise, actually, it's right here. So if we're stopped, so if we check if we're 0 first, the reason why this logic was locked under this block, which was testing if it was smaller than or equal to 0, but if it's 0, we know we just need to stop. No. Shoot, but then, no, that should work. That should work. Because if it's, we can only slow to a stop if our dx is positive, and then once we slow to a stop, this will be 0, at which point we'll stop the skidding sound and everything. So this could work. I still don't, So I'm trying to get these two blocks, see if this changing, reordering of the blocks works, and then I can refactor maybe into just one massive block. Because I don't like how, you know, we're going to be calling the same exact block if dx is 0. Actually, yeah, actually this just this negates it. So yeah, we can actually take this out now. But then we can say, we could maybe say these two, because these are different conditions. So we can say this one's checking, these two are checking if we're moving right, and these two are checking if we're moving left. I'm curious to see if that messes anything up. Well, it messes that up. Why does that happen only? What? What? Why did it not? I don't know. I don't know why it jumps us sometimes there. Oh God. Oh God. If I copy this and then undo all the stupid shit I just did, will I still be able to paste it? Yeah. Okay. Well, not that that worked. I'm curious if that bug was in here before. See what? I don't get what. Oh! Why does it do that? What? That's so weird. So, for whatever reason, our ground check is becoming false. But it only becomes false once we've been running off the screen more than once, because right there it doesn't do it. And then it'll do it. So why? Why? You know, our ground check is becoming false. And I don't know, well, actually, yeah, what's weird? Oh. It looks like our dy is going upwards instead of downwards. Okay, well now I'm, yeah, because look, our player y is going up as if we like jumped or something. Why would that be happening? Let me... I'm going to save that code and I'm going to go look at the like what would be causing our y to go upwards. you know, something to do with see, like part of me wants to say I'm going to turn that off on our check grounded function and see if that fixes it. Yeah. So we are, I think that's the problem right there, is there's one frame where our check grounded on our ground platform is becoming false. Which is why our grounded was set to false. I don't get why our Y would go up if we're not grounded though. So that doesn't make any sense to me, but that kind of tells me that and I thought we fixed this. I thought we fixed this by this -1 and +2 that I hated. Remember that? So I'm going to say our X is one more frame and our width is 2 more widths. I don't know. And let's see if, okay. Oh, see, no, it does it. What the heck? And what's so weird is like, on the first one, see, why wouldn't that trigger the jump? Because our dx was maxed out at 2.35, but it's only when we looped once already that it doesn't know how to do it. Which I find really strange. And it doesn't make sense that our dx is going up. Or it doesn't make sense that our y is going up and our dy is going up. So right here, we're giving our ground platform an X position of a negative buffer. Now, I'm actually kind of confused why it was negative buffer in the first place. Because the buffer's for the buffer was to, like if the platform's here, the buffer was to make the platform a bit smaller so that we can fall off if both of our feet weren't planted. But I don't get why I was having X as this negative buffer. Because instead of negative buffer, it should be wherever we do our loop logic, which is an ostrich. Whenever we do our loop logic, it's negative self width. So our X is getting set to be just off screen. And our self width is what? X, Y, width is 16. So yeah, negative buffer is only -7. So this should be -16 because our platform needs to extend all the way out. And then that means that our width needs to be a virtual width plus a 16 times 2. So we can just say virtual width plus 32. I don't know how I screwed that up so bad, but yeah, I don't know why I thought minus buffer for the X position. But yeah, I want to make sure. Oh God. There was that line I toggled off. Right here. Okay, it's back on. That's what I wanted to check. So let's see if that fixes our weird issue. Okay. So yeah, our ground check grounded is not getting set to false for those one frame or whatever. That makes me happy because I wasn't happy with that weird old buffer thing. Now instead of here, we can say player one dot width and player one dot width times 2 to be a little, you know, so it's not those weird magic numbers in there, but okay. So let me just check that that's okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I still don't get. First of all, I still don't get why our Y was going up, and I still don't get why ground check grounded was only being false upon one or upon the second looping over. I don't get why that was the case, but we fixed it. So I'm gonna go back, try to do that that new logic here. So we turn off this old logic, turn on this new one, and now we can see if there's any issues with our skidding. Okay. Okay. And then I'm pretty sure our skidding off the platform is still going to be busted because I haven't implemented anything to fix that. Oh, shoot, man. Okay. Let me just see. Yeah. Yeah, I remember. Okay. So I think that's happening because it doesn't know what to do if it's moving right. And skidding. Oh, here. So yeah, we have a condition for moving right and skidding and grounded, but we don't have a condition for moving right and skidding and not grounded, which needs to be different. So we can just say, hey, also, that. You know, just update your X position like normal. If you are skidding and not self-grounded, and that should fix our problem of stopping, at least going right, and then we would need our last else if when we're not grounded, and we'd need to just update that. See, so I don't like that. See how all this repeating ourselves? Like, update your position in all of these scenarios. You know, there's got to be a better way. Like we got to say there is this condition in which we would be slowing down, then updating our position, and same with this one. But otherwise, we just need to update our X position. Right? But let me just see if that might fix it first. Yo. Okay, that's still wrong. That, I mean, our dx is correct, which is good. But for some reason, yeah, see, our dx there, we should just keep walking upon landing. We shouldn't be stopping. Not touching, yet it stops. Now, let me make sure our skidding is getting set to false. But what's weird is it looks like as soon as we go off the platform, the ostrich isn't drawing, it isn't drawing the wings up ostrich, which is our aerial state. It's drawing a frame 1 standing ostrich at aerial ostrich height, which is just not right. See, because our wings up like that is our default aerial. So, okay, skid is not getting set to false in the air, which as soon as our, okay, as soon as our, let me see where our skid gets false. Okay, that's the only line. So here we were only setting our skid to false upon a 0 velocity, but there's another scenario where we need to set our skid to false, and that's if we're in the air, we can't be skidding. Is that right? Is that right? So if our dx so I wonder if, so it's like, where do we put that logic? It would be here where, like, if we're not grounded, do we just say right up here, if we're not grounded, skid gets false, like plain and simple. So yeah, we're looking for once we skid off this platform, we land and keep our DX moving to the right. Cool. And it had the proper animation there. Let's try it this way. Okay. Yeah. Sweet. Sweet. We fixed it. Now I guess the question is, if we're skidding, we can jump out of it and see, look at that. That's no bueno. I'm holding left and I'm moving right, which should be impossible. That's no bueno. So it's like our, yeah, see how that's busted? We don't have a, gosh, I could have sworn I fixed that. I could have sworn I fixed that. Let me just take a quick look at our input handling. Yeah, multiple direction input handling. Oh God. Oh, okay. So it looks like we have a table called last input that we're populating with whatever is our last input, because we're wiping it upon every input. So if our last input, where do we use that then? Where do we use that last input? Oh, here. Oh. So this is where we're using the last input, and that whole shit is commented out currently because it was, gosh, where did I, here. This is all commented out because our skid sound plays over and over and over and over, which at 60 frames a second, if left is held, it'll just keep playing skid. So I was nice and left myself these big asterisks here that say, hey, not only is this skid upon landing, but it's not even skid upon landing, it's skid upon grounded. Or it's skid upon, I don't know, skid upon moving max speed and opposite directions held down. So let's see if we can fix this. Like the one thing I don't quite get with Lua is the local and global distinction, or lack of, in this language. Because I hear everything defaults to being global, but then why I guess all caps is just a what do you call it? A typing standard for global or for constants. Yeah, for constants. Not necessarily global. So I guess, okay. So I guess everything is kind of global unless specifically defined local in Lua. The way I'm thinking about fixing this is just like our. Okay. So it's like we need to say we need skid to play. Shoot. So like let's look at our skid sound, right? Our skid sound is this. You know, it's not as long. Let me hear how long the longest skid can be in this original, and we'll see if we need to make that longer. Oh, come on. Quiet. I think it does need to be a bit longer. Because the idea is back before I used the slam library here, before I used that, I had to set our skid sound to loop and then have it play for as long as we're skidding. But now we need it different. Now we need it. We need to be a bit longer than this. Do we have Audition on here? Do we really not? Oh, Audition can't. Shoot. Audition can't be put on this Mac when Premiere can, which is weird. Oh, that bugs me. That bugs me. I pay Adobe this money every month and I can't even get Audition of any sort on my computer. That's crap. And I can't update past 10.15. That's some crap, man. Because it won't even let me download a version that used to be compatible with this firmware, like that's, or with this operating system. That's just messed up, dude. I don't know how to edit. I'm gonna have to edit this skid copy to be a little bit longer on my other machine, and then I can put it on this computer, and then we can worry about fixing the skid sound. Because I'm thinking all we have to do is the, you know, if we are skidding, start a skid counter and only play, shoot, how do we do that? Yeah, because we would say, like right away, you know, if left is pressed, play the skid sound, which is going to be a bit longer. But then we're going to say start incrementing skid counter. Yeah, we would have to say something like, you know, if skid counter is not 0, or if skid counter is 0, then then skid, and then we would increment skid counter, and then we would say yeah, we would have to increment skid counter. Actually, we may not even have to do that. We might be able to get away with saying like a Boolean saying skid sound. And if skid sound is false, then then set our skid to true. And then, no, I don't know. The skid counter idea comes from like, I think I'm still stuck thinking that it's looping and that we need to track it, or I don't know what I'm thinking. But we could say like if skid counter is 0, then skid, and then set skid counter equal to 1, and then we set skid counter back to 0 upon stopping. So maybe I would say like, you know, skid counter gets, and I'm just since I don't have the audio file for the correct skid sound. Well, I mean, I guess I could do this for real with the incorrect skid sound, and then just drag and drop it if it's working, you know. So I guess I could just do it. So I guess I want to see if just turning that back on, crap, it's gonna be that infinite skid sound. So let me just mute the skid sound for now, and then see if that fixes our problem. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, and so the problem is we don't want to be calling the skid sound 60 times a second, you know, while we're skidding. We just want to do it once, which wasn't a problem at all before we incorporated the slam library, because the slam library is what allowed us to play multiple sounds in the first place. So maybe so I'm giving us a local variable called skid counter, and I'm saying, oh, B, where am I? Good. Here. Okay. So once left is pressed, if skid counter 0, which it starts out to be, then I want you to play the skid sound. And set skid to true, and assign 1 to skid counter. Remember, this is the assignment operator, this is the equality operator, this is testing for equality, and this is moving the value into skid counter. So if skid counter is 0, then we're gonna play skid, then set ourselves to skid, then change skid counter to 1. Then I'm also stopping. I'm stopping both footstep sounds because we're no longer walking, we're skidding. So I guess this can be moved into right here as well. That's just weird. Okay. So what we do need to do is set skid counter back to 0 upon stopping. Which it's hard for me to remember where the stop logic is. Stops. This is if we're moving right and our dx is less than the skid threshold and left is pressed and left is the last input. Stop. Is that the only time we stop? No. We also stop if left was pressed and we were going past the skid threshold and we end up slowing down to stop. So let me see. Okay, so I'm thinking every time we set our just stopped to true, we need to wipe our skid counter back to 0. So anytime we're just stopped, wipe it to 0. And then if dx is 0, now there's another instance in which we stop and it's not triggered by just stopped. It's triggered by the slowdown when we're skidding. It's the skid logic, but shoot, here. No, it's not the skid flag, it's the skid logic, which is right here. Oh, well, you know what? The skid logic ends up getting to 0, and we did kind of cover our base there. We covered our base with right here. We covered it. If our dx is 0, skid counter 0. So let's go back. Let's see our, oh God, where is it? Here. Skid counter gets 1. So yeah, skid counter 0 and then that button's pressed. We need to play our skid, stop our feet, set our skid counter to equal 1. Then we need to do the same here where we say if skid counter is equal to 0, then you do this stuff. I'm gonna place this to be in the same order. Just for clarity's sake, I guess. And then we also, if skid is playing, we just played skid, we need to set our skid counter equal to 2, or equal to God. See, and this is why it should probably be a Boolean with a good name, because we're just doing 1 or 0 for this. But so yeah, we set our skid to true. We set our skid counter equal to 1, which upon the very next frame, if right is still held down and right was still our last input, and we're still moving left, and oh, actually, and we're not skidding. Oh God, now I'm confused if because the, oh, no. Huh. You know, part of me is, hold on. Part of me is thinking that since we had since we have not self-skid in our condition here, then all this would be doing is playing it once, because once skid is true on the next frame, this, you know, isn't not self-skid anymore. It's self-skid true. So it shouldn't be playing the sound over and over and over. Okay, so I don't think we needed to even do that shit. I probably should have tested it before I implemented the fix. I guess now I'm kind of curious if we just, I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah, this wouldn't do anything different unless I screwed up the implementation. That's really cool. I guess I fixed that without realizing it and then left it commented out. Is that what happened? Yeah, right, that happened. I don't know what happened. Anyways, we're gonna delete skid counter because that was just pointless. But, you know, we fixed it. We fixed it by toggling this back on that we already had. I'm not sure when we fixed that and why we left it toggled off, but I need to find every skid counter, which I didn't even do camel case for it. And we don't need it. Nice. Okay, And then let's see if our skidding off of a platform is still working. Nice. Nice. That's with me holding left, and then let's see if we keep our DX if I'm not holding anything, and I keep my DX. Sweet. Yo. That's the fix. That's really sweet. We fixed that wonky stuff. Yeah. And we did this too with replacing the buffer in our X of our ground platform with our ostrich's negative self dot width. Yeah. So my only concern is right now X platform. Well, I guess yeah, I got no concern because I was gonna say right now the X platform is got the parameter of negative player width as its X, but on like wave 2 this ground platform will change, and at that point we change its X and its width because it needs to get, you know, literally smaller. So we'll just have to overwrite this upon wave 2 or something. So I'm not concerned that that'll get in the way. We're about due for another code purge. So here, I think it's a little late tonight to try to do this, but well, let's try real quick if we could fix this, because I don't like that we're saying under all these, or not this one, and this one are special, but you know, we're saying under this condition, this condition, this condition, and this condition, we're all doing the same thing. So we can say, hey, if this condition or this condition or this condition, then just do that once. You know, we can just make that way smaller. So let me, just because I'm like not wanting to bust anything right before a commit, because I've done that before, I'm going to comment that out, paste it, and then try to tweak it where I want to put this line as the first else if. I want to put this line as the second else if. And I want to put all of these conditions in one actually, yeah, it could just be in an else. Else that. And because we always want to be updating trying to think if this will cause any problems. Because I'm basically saying at all times, update your well, at all times, well, hold on. If our dx is 0, then yeah, it's almost like if our dx is 0, we need a way of saying if our dx is 0. No, I don't know. I don't know if that'll cause an issue. What I'm trying to say is like, do I need to update our x position with our current dx if our dx is 0? Like, do I need to put that right here as well? Because if our dx is 0, we're never going to be hitting this line. We're never going to hit that else because this condition is true. So if this condition is true, are we... I think it might work. Let me see. Okay. I think it's working. There's so many instances to test to make sure things didn't get busted. But that seems to be working. And it's way smaller. So I guess I'm also curious if we can get rid of this. Yeah, I'm curious if that, because we don't need it, because we're right here, we're assigning our dx. No, I think we do need those. I think we do need those. Let's make sure it's messed up. Oh, yeah. Yeah, skid. Yeah, skid doesn't update our X position, so we do need those. So that's nice. I mean, we went from this much code, that many lines, to that many lines. Which is nice. Cool. So yeah, we're going to have a code purge here soon because look at all this blue. Yeah. And then, sweet man, I'm really happy with that. We did, we fixed two things, you know, we did this, we fixed this ground check, and then we fixed the skidding off the platform. Sweet. Sweetness. Let us add everything to the staging area. I'm actually curious to make sure I didn't accidentally leave my skid copy MP3 in there, which turns out we didn't even need, which is nice. We added everything to the staging area. We're going to commit with a message saying we fixed skidding off platform and fixed ground check grounded upon player looping screen. I guess I would call it. I don't know. and then git push origin main. Sweet. Cool. Thanks for tuning in, and catch you tomorrow.